scandals explode. Others simply evaporate. One day, a public figure is accused of corruption. Next, they're on television, smiling, giving away relief goods, and suddenly, people forget. Come join us on the last episode of How to Get Away with Plunder. I'm Nana Tamaray.
And I am Rain Tolentino. On today's episode, we will talk about how reputations in the Philippines get laundered, how journalists become part of the process, and why our public memory is so easy to manipulate.
Kaloka, no? Last episode mo.
Tama.
Diba? Oo. Christmas episode to, guys. Kaya kami naka-sweater.
Diba?
Oo. Malamig eh.
Malamig-lamig na.
Yes. So, now that we're moving on to our last episode, let's talk about more recent events.
Diba? Para mas nakaka-relate ang mga Gen Z natin dyan.
Oo. Kung familiar kayo sa 4 Picks, 1 Word, meron kaming palaro.
Bagong-bago.
Oo, bagong-bago, ano? Oo. Ito ang pa 4 Picks, 1 Word namin. Ipa-flash din niya ng aming wonderful editor on screen. So, i-guess niyo na lang kung sino to. Ikaw, anong guess mo?
Sarah Geronimo, Curly Tops, Rolls Royce at Payong.
Sino
Does
kaya?
that ring a bell?
At kung ang sagot mo ay...
Diskaya?
Yes! Okay. So, ang sagot, the Discayas. So, the Discayas are a contractor couple who appeared in multiple glossy lifestyle interviews. In particular, they were with Corina Sanchez and Julius Babao. So, it wasn't really an investigative piece. It was more of like soft. Alam mo yan, yung parang, alam mo ba yung MTV Cribs or masyado na tayong matanda for that.
Siguro parang Chris TV ang attack.
Oo. Like, do you want the house tour? So, it all seemed normal at first, right? Pero ano yung nangyari?
Biglang nag-drop ng bomb si Mayor Vico Soto of Pasig City. So, claim niya na yung Discayas nag-pay ng 10 million pesos for these favorable features. Money supposedly meant to sanitize their public image and discredit rivals. Both anchors denied the accusation, but the controversy brought something bigger into focus.
So, according to the Center for Media Freedom and Responsibility, or the CMFR, this was highly criticized because it effectively laundered the couple's image and sidelined the issue of accountability. Media commentators argued that if these were paid placements, audiences deserve to know. Parang alam mo yung kapag nag-TikTok ka, tas parang may napanood kang video, tas like study tips siya, ganon-ganon. Tas sobrang invested ka na dun kasi parang helpful talaga siya. Tapos biglang may ipa-place sila na software or AI. Oh my gosh.
Tapos malalaman mo, ini-endorse pala nila yon, kaya naman pala. So parang bilang,
pero walang paid partnership sa ilalim. Di ba nakakairita? So imagine, sa Discayas ganun, tapos nagbayad pa sila ng 10 million pesos.
Allegedly. Pero what do you think? Diba? Allegedly. Pero, diba, isipin mo nga.
Comment down below.
Reputation laundering is not always about TV features. Sometimes, it's direct. Cash for coverage. During the 2013 pork barrel scandal, whistleblowers refused interviews with ABS-CBN.
Bakit?
Diba? ABS-CBN na yan eh. Bakit tatanggi ka? They learned that some anchors and reporters were allegedly on an Annapolis payola list. Ito.
So, ano ba ang payola?
Yung payola ay envelopmental journalism.
Galing.
Sabi ni Nico Bawa, kung familiar kayo sa dating TV Patrol or ABS-CBN reporter na si Nico Bawa, sabi niya, whistleblowers genuinely believed na Polis had deposited money into journalist accounts to sway coverage.
So, ang word of the day para sa episode ito, envelopmental journalism. It's a nickname for instances when cash is slipped into reporters. So, dati, usually, ang pinapadala kasi talaga, envelope na puno ng pera.
Kaya envelopmental journalism.
Pero ngayon, modern times na tayo, digital na ang payments. So, wala nang envelopes. Ngayon, GCash, ATM transfers, mahirap yung sundan, untraceable siya, tas mabilis ding ipadala.
Tama, QR code na lang. So, mapapatanong ka, di ba? Is the media exposing the truth? Or is the media hiding the truth? Corruption cases don't disappear on their own. They fade because something else pushes them aside. Sometimes, it's direct payola. But often, it's something more subtle.
Major networks tend to use infotainment formats that prioritize feel-good stories over difficult ones. Alam mo, actually, na-flashback ako doon. Alam mo yung times, like, yung sa mga recent na Rated K episodes, na parang akala mo, touching story siya about like a certain person or a certain family, tapos biglang may ipapasok na lang sila na, like, supplement. Di ba? Parang yung ganun.
Parang, may
Diba?
inspire na ako may about sa Diyos, ganyan. Biglang may, moringa supplement.
Diba?
Hulaan nyo kung anong moringa supplement ito. Hindi kayo magbabanggit ng kung
Oo.
ano, pero alam nyo na yon.
Oo, guys, wala kaming paid partnership, unlike them. Pero, yun, di ba? Like, it's really frustrating whenever you get those kinds of, like, supposedly informative stories that are actually just tied up to look like stories, but are really just advertisements. And when embattled officials need a makeover, these platforms are the perfect stage. A charity event here, a feature about their home province there, or a human interest segment that shows them laughing, cooking, or even singing. Or kahit yung mga pa-TikTok na nakakatawa, di ba?
Oo, alam mo yun, parang ang bilis nating masway sa ganon, di ba?
Mm.
Di ba ng mga past episodes nga na pag-uusapan natin, nagbudots lang, bumalik na sa pwesto, di ba?
Oo, di ba?
Sobrang ganon ka laki yung epekto ng media sa atin. So, talagang kailangan responsible yung mga nasa media.
Mm-mm.
So, minsan walang cash involved, pero yung airtime alone is enough to overshadow those scandals. Syempre, airtime yan di ba?
Oo.
Airtime si bakla,
Totoo. It also kind of makes you think, like, ano yung role ng mga audiences dito? Like, is it also because of, like, our attention spans? Like,
Pwede.
dahil mas short na siya, di ba? So, ibig sabihin din nun, may role din tayo na maging mindful sa kinokonsume natin. Like, especially right now, meron tayong malaking ongoing cases, katulad nung flood control, ang paborito ng taong bayan. Ngayon yung flood control, it's really been a huge topic. Ongoing. Pero now, parang ako lang ba, like, feel ko na hindi siya kasing maingay ngayon sa social
Noong
media.
September.
Oo, noong
Like,
September, super.
Super ingay. Pero ngayon parang lagi siyang hinahanap na balik tayo sa flood control,
Oo.
ganyan. Kasi nagrereklamo na rin yung mga tao kasi nasaan na yung flood control? Ano na nangyayari sa flood control, di ba? Kasi bigla na lang parang ando na tayo sa biglang claim naman ngayon ni Aimee na yung kapatid niya ay nagda-drugs daw.
Oo.
'Di ba? So parang nalilimutan tuloy ng mga tao na ay ang tagal pala na sobrang questionable na mga flood control projects natin mula pa nung time ni Duterte. So parang alam mo yun, nawawala yung focus natin sa mga bagay na mas importante.
Totoo.
Hindi naman natin binabalewala yung fact na baka nga nag-drugs yung president natin. Pero alam mo yun, marami kasing mas importanteng bagay na na kailangan nating i-discuss than that. Parang mas binibigyan natin tuloy ng platform na ma-destabilize yung government.
Oo, totoo. And I feel like we also shouldn't distract ourselves with, constant streams of issues. Like, let's learn to stick to one issue at a time. Alam mo yun? Parang, para ma-resolve din naman siya, i-resolve muna natin to bago tayo tumalon dun sa isa. Kasi I feel like tendency din natin yun, di ba? Na akala natin, kaya nating i-multitask lahat ng mga issues. And then, over time, marirealize mo, sobrang hyper-fixated ka na sa isang issue na nakalimutan mo na yung isa. When it turns out na mas malaki nga yung impact nun sa bansang to compared to the other. Diba? Another really big issue that currently returned in the public eye is Alice Guo.
Convicted na si bakla.
Grabe, sa sobrang tagal.
So, medyo nakalimutan, di ba? So, may mga comments din before, ano na nangyayari kay Alice Guo, ganyan. O, ito na po, nagbabalik siya, mga kapamilya, mga kapuso, mga kapatid. Convicted na si Alice Guo sa trafficking.
Applause.
So, di ba, parang, baka naman, rin, yung media, parang nakakalimutan niya rin kasing bigyan ng update yung mga tao.
Mm.
Hinahanap-hanap tuloy siya kasi yun nga, yung mga advertisements nga, ganyan, mas
Oo.
bibigyan ng pansin yung mga gano'n. So, minsan mag-aano ka rin kung magtitiwala ka ba talaga,
Mm.
'di ba?
And it's sad kasi the whole point of the media is that sila ang Fifth Estate, 'di ba? Like watchdog, like yun yung role nila. It's to make sure that we stay on track. It's to make sure that we remember what the real and relevant issues are. But at the end of the day, it's sad to like admit, but part of media is business. And
Mm.
sometimes business outweighs real and relevant issues.
So, reputation laundering works because public memory is fragile. Ayun nga, mabilis yung attention span
Mm.
natin, maikli na, 'di ba?
Mm.
Scandals fade, good lighting, and a friendly interview can overshadow years of corruption. And unless journalists insist on accountability, the cycle continues. As Danilo Araw said, when journalists accept compensation from people they cover, it tells the public that journalism itself can be bought. And once trust breaks, it's almost impossible to rebuild.
Alam mo, napapaisip din ako, like, yung trust, yung level of trust ng Filipinos, trust, big word, yung level of trust ng mga Filipinos sa journalists, do you think that it's like, it's much weaker or much, like, stronger than it was before?
Parang weaker kasi parang ngayon mas pinaniniwalaan na tuloy yung mga vloggers na hindi
Mm.
naman nag-aral ng journalism, ganyan. Yung parang yung mga may bias tuloy yung mas pinaniniwalaan ng tao ngayon, mas tinestream. Minsan makikita mo kapag tinignan mo yung mga media outlets, ang onti ng views, pero pag
Mm.
tinignan mo tong mga vloggers, sila yung mas pinaniniwalaan, mas pinakikinggan kahit na hindi naman tayo sure kung credible ba yung mga source nila sa mga binabalita nila or mga shine-share nila sa mga social media platforms nila.
Do you think na it's possible for, for journalists to rebuild that trust? Like, do you think it's like, obviously it's not gonna happen overnight, right?
Mm.
Pero do you think na in a country as embroiled in a country as embroiled in corruption as the Philippines, sa tingin mo ba parang posible pa ba? Like, are we ever gonna get back into the Filipino people's good graces?
Posible naman, pero ayun kailangan siguro yung efforts din talaga
Mm.
ng journalism, ng media, kailangan talagang makisabay dun sa mga vloggers na 'to. So, kailangan nila mas maging present sa TikTok, ganyan, 'di ba? Kasi dun sila mas isi-stream.
Mm.
So, and ano na rin, parang siguro give the people what they want. Ayun, hindi yung lagi nilang kasing hinahanap, eh. Laging hinahanap kung nasaan na yung flood control, ano na nangyari sa ganito, ganyan. So, sana ibigay na lang sa tao kung ano yung gusto nila, kung ano yung kailangan nilang malaman.
That's true. And, as we end the series, one thing is definitely clear. Plunder in the Philippines doesn't survive only because of weak laws or slow courts. It survives because people forget. Accountability begins with awareness. It begins with remembering. The moment we choose to forget, corruption wins. So, as the saying goes, never forget. Diba? So, this has been the last episode of How to Get Away with Plunder. I'm Nana.
And I'm Rain Tolentino. Thank you for tuning into How to Get Away with Plunder.